أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
ألف لام را كتاب أحكمت آياته ثم فصلت من لدن حكيم خبير.
Alif, Lam, Ra. This is a book whose verses are perfected and then presented in detail from one who is wise and acquainted.
ألا تعبدوا إلا الله إنني لكم منه نذير وبشير. يعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون. إلا على الله رزقها ويعلم مستقرها ومستودعها كل في كتاب مبين.
And there is no creature on earth but that upon Allah is its provision, and He knows its place of dwelling and place of storage. And it is He who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and His throne had been upon water, that He might test you as to which of you is best indeed. But if you say, indeed, you are resurrected after death, those who disbelieve will surely say, this is naught but obvious magic.
وَلَئِنْ أَخَّرْنَا عَنْهُمُ الْعَذَابَ إِلَىٰ أُمَّةٍ مَّعْدُودَةٍ لَّيَقُولُنَّ مَا يَحْبِسُهُ ۗ أَلَا يَوْمَ يَأْتِيهِمْ لَيْسَ مَصْرُوفًا عَنْهُمْ وَحَاقَ بِهِم مَّا كَانُوا بِهِ يَسْتَهْزِئُونَ.
And if we hold back from them the punishment for a limited time, they will surely say, "What detains it?" Unquestionably, on the day it comes to them, it will not be averted from them, and they will be enveloped by what they used to ridicule.
وَلَئِنْ أَذَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنَّا رَحْمَةً ثُمَّ نَزَعْنَاهَا مِنْهُ إِنَّهُ لَيَئُوسٌ كَفُورٌ.
And if we give man a taste of mercy from us, and then we withdraw it from him, indeed he is despairing and ungrateful.
وَلَئِنْ أَذَقْنَاهُ نَعْمَاءَ بَعْدَ ضَرَّاءَ مَسَّتْهُ لَيَقُولَنَّ ذَهَبَ السَّيِّئَاتُ عَنِّي إِنَّهُ لَفَرِحٌ فَخُورٌ.
But if we give him a taste of favor, then would you possibly leave out some of what is revealed to you? Or is your breast constrained by it because they say, "Why has there not been sent down to him a treasure, or come with him an angel?" But you are only a warner, and Allah is disposer of all things.
أَمْ يَقُولُونَ افْتَرَاهُ قُلْ فَأْتُوا بِعَشْرِ سُوَرٍ مِثْلِهِ مُفْتَرَيَاتٍ وَادْعُوا مَنِ اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. أَنَّمَا أُنزِلَ بِعِلْمِ اللَّهِ وَأَن لَّا إِلَٰهَ إِلَّا هُوَ فَهَلْ أَنتُم مُّسْلِمُونَ.
And if they do not respond to you, then know that the Quran
عَلَيْهِمْ أَعْمَالَهُمْ فِيهَا وَهُمْ فِيهَا لَا يُبْخَسُونَ. باطل ما كانوا يعملون.
Those are the ones for whom there is not in the hereafter but the fire, and lost is what they did therein, and worthless is what they used to do.
لا يؤمنون.
So is one who stands upon a clear evidence from his Lord like the aforementioned, and a witness from him follows it, and before it was the scripture of Moses.
Juan, echa para atrás, Juan.
Lo tragó. Sí, que no duraba 10 minutos. Sí, aquí frente a Chimpa.
A esta hora estamos en el corregimiento de Guaymaro, del municipio de Salamina. Estamos observando cómo la acción de río se está llevando parte de la orilla del pueblo. La comunidad en estos momentos está...
Casca la macchina, ragazzi. Casca la strada, hanno fatto cascare. Allá te verás, ahí ha salido. La chica, boludo.
Ay, Dios mío, cayó el helicóptero. Cayó el helicóptero. ¿Quién está ahí? ¿Quién está ahí? ¿Quién está ahí?
Está sobre una camioneta aplastada.
Ay, una urba, una tour. Aquí había gente. Ay, Dios mío.
Está muerto.
Oh, puta madre, güey. Aquí había mucha gente. Aquí estaba toda esta familia campeando, güey. No mames. No mames. Aquí estaba campeando toda la familia.
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good evening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear brothers and sisters. I hope my voice is coming to the channel. Welcome back to another episode of the great news end times events and great happenings. Good to see all of you, inshallah. Tonight we'll be joined by our guest, Sister Radia, inshallah. She is one of the supporters and the followers of the awaited Mahdi, Nasr Muhammad al-Yamani. She's been that way now for many years. Okay, she devoted her life, her energy, her time in order to widespread the knowledge that was brought by the awaited Mahdi Nasr Muhammad al-Yamani. So as I said, tonight she'll be joining us in order to enlighten us and to give us an insight of the knowledge of the awaited Imam Nasr Muhammad al-Yamani, peace and blessing be upon him. So in the meanwhile, I'll be streaming some of the some of the videos. We just saw one of them, of what's happening on our planet. So let me now go to another. Just hang on a second. Anyway, I La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah.
Ich träume und die Welt erzittert.
Okay, there you have it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. So now we are joined by Sister Radia. As I was mentioning, Sister Radia is a supporter and a follower of awaited Imam Mahdi Nasr Muhammad al-Yamani. She'll be giving us an insight on the calling of awaited Imam Mahdi. As you all know, this channel is to bring you news and events from different perspective. You know, the kind of news and information we are trying to share on our channel is very exclusive. That means you know, it's the perspective of our beloved awaited Mahdi Nasr Muhammad al-Yamani. So Sister Radia, are you with me?
Yes, I am. I begin with, in the name of Allah, the most merciful, the all merciful. And I greet all with the greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah's peace, mercy, and His blessings be upon you.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Allah blessing and peace upon you also and your family. Welcome,
Ameen.
Welcome, sister. Could you please introduce yourself to, yeah, most of the brothers and sisters, they know you, but in general, maybe you would like to add something in that.
Sure, my name is Radia. I'm just a supporter of the Imam Mahdi, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. And that's about it.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I mean, alhamdulillah, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks.
Anyway, yeah, we've been watching some of the videos showing us what's going on around the world, you know, about these weather changes, flooding all over the place, earthquake, earth swallowing. And it seems, you know, on the mainstream media, we're not getting all the information. So there is more to it, more to it than what's been shown on the mainstream media, like CNN and Fox and other news. Yeah. And
and unfortunately, what's happening is just nothing but the tip of the iceberg. We ask God's mercy.
Okay, so is there something that we are not aware of that you maybe could?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, please go ahead, tell us. Because, you know, before you start, what I would like to say is in recent years, you know, we've been hearing many people stepping forward and trying to explain what's taking place. So some of them are speaking about global warming, and another time they're speaking about the mini ice age. And, you know, it's a confusion. They don't know actually what's going on. Or they are hiding the truth about something that's causing all this. So please, could you enlighten us and give us some information? Okay?
Yes, I'll be glad to. What it is, as you mentioned, that the claim of global warming or ice age or whatever is all covered up. And they know the fact. They know there is something out there, and it's heading its way towards planet Earth.
Okay.
That scientifically it was discovered way back, and they announced it, but then they hit it all of a sudden, and whoever brings the subject, they would say, oh, it's just not true, it's just rumors and whatever, and they doubt it, and they would just shut it up. But many knows, and also in the scientific community, they know, whether it's NASA or on any level, but they hide it. And also it's known and on the upper level of governmental, you know, across the world, and they all taking precautions and hiding food and building bunkers. It's all away from the mainstream of media. They don't want people to know about it.
So you just said they know about something coming, heading towards Earth.
Yeah.
Could you please be more specific? What do you mean something? What
Yeah,
is this
well, they call it Planet X or Nibiru. It's a celestial body, heavenly body, and another planet that's in our solar system, and it's in a remote area. It's the farthest planet in our solar system.
Okay.
And fortunately, once we found out, with the grace of God, that about the Imam Mahdi, Nasr Muhammad al-Yamani, who explained to us in details from the Holy Quran, the scripture that was sent on the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it's the guarded book
Yes.
by Allah for mankind, and it's the last message of mankind, and it explains to us about it in details, and he put it in simple and plain. And it was when we read, we said, amazing. It's like a covering in our eyes just opened, and we have the proofs from the Holy Quran about its existence and the warnings from Allah about it. And it's also mentioned in the Bible, in the Torah.
Okay.
It's known as Murdoch in the Bible. It's known also in history. If you go back in history, there's archaeological artifacts to prove that destruction has passed, and it's from it comes from the sky, from the heavens, and they graved it on stones or whatever artifacts they have. So, for example, the Sumerians artifacts,
Yes.
where they found that there is something came, it looks like the sun, and made the destruction on Earth. A lot of people died, and those who survived it lived to tell about it.
Okay. Thank you. Actually, on the internet, there is plenty of information in regard to this,
Absolutely.
To this planet, and the most well-known legend that speaks about planet Nibiru, actually, it's a Sumerian name, and with the
Yes.
Anunnaki, and they speak about Zachariah teaching. But in their record, and even to the West, when they speak about Planet X Nibiru, they refer to it as a planet, solid planet, Earth-like or Jupiter-like.
Yeah.
That is actually what's in the mind of the people. But is it the same description that is given in the Holy Quran about this planet also, or is it something else?
Well, the Quran tells us in plain, simple verses that it carries chastisement to mankind, and it comes. It's not the first time when it's going to pass now, but it's the last, and it's the 12th time, and it's the nearest that carries more destruction, which it's going to, because the situation that is going to come the nearest, that's what's going to have a grip on Earth and will make it stop on turning, because the gravitational pull of Planet X, which is known in the Quran as Saquar or Sajil, it's hellfire actually, but it has different names. In the Quran, Allah mentioned it's Al-Hutama, Saquar or Sajil, so many names.
In another word, it is not like Jupiter or Earth.
No, it's much bigger. It's fiery in nature. Very destructive. It has a strong gravitational pull that would affect the Earth, and what we see now of natural destructions, it's because of the skirmishes between Earth and the planet X Nibiru. When it comes closer, all of a sudden it's gonna have a effect on Earth that would make it stop on rotating, and which will cause it to reverse its rotation. What do we mean by this? It means that we're gonna when it stops its rotation and reverse it as it passes over Earth, then we're gonna see the sun rise from the west. The opposite way that now we see the sunrise from the east, but it'll be the opposite way.
Okay, so the crossing, let us say, or the passage of this celestial body is going to have a deep impact on planet Earth, on life on the planet Earth.
Absolutely. It's going to cause a lot of destruction, a lot of deaths, and there's no way to escape it. There's no way to avert it. There's no way to stop it or change its course, like some claims that they try. The military, they want to do, like we hear them now, they do experimental tests for weapons that if something come like an asteroid to destroy it before or change its course.
But I saw some of that.
This is illusional. It's not gonna affect. It's not gonna cause a dent in it.
No, I mean, I saw some documentary where they are, for instance, they discovered a new technique that they paint the asteroid with white paint in order to reflect the sunlight, and that energy of the sun will push it out of its course, avoiding collision with the Earth.
That's a wishful thinking. But in actual fact, as we see now, with the most highest technology we have, when the asteroid passed over Russia, they couldn't do a thing. Nothing. It caused, it was just an asteroid that is small, but when we talk about a huge planet, the biggest planet in our celestial system, in our solar system.
And I presume, according to the way you described it, they won't be able even to come close to it, since it is gluing, it is very hot. God knows the kind of temperature, on this. Actually, it is not a planet; it's a star, I presume. I think, because if it is burning,
the Quran, if I may say, it calls the planets as stars.
Yeah.
So a star is a planet, but some is earthly like the other planets, but this is like sun in nature, but it is as we said, the 10th planet, or the 7, because we have in our solar system 7 planets, like our Earth in its own orbit rotates. But this planet, it has elliptical rotation. It's different. It doesn't come from the east to the west, and like the other planets we see when it rotates around the Earth.
I thought I saw on some of the statements of the awaited Mahdi, Nasser Muhammad al-Yamani, him speaking, in order to give a closer idea to the minds of the people. He said it is more like a neutron star. That means, it's very hot inside, 1,000,000 degrees. So, and like you said, it's a huge size. But are we speaking here, the crossing with this planet Sijil, Saquar, would it collide of the Earth or just pass nearby Earth?
No, it won't collide. It'll be passing over Earth, as the Quran described, and it will rain over Earth fiery stones that would cause fires and destruction and death to mankind. and it'll be targeted really in precise.
Okay. So you mentioned that the Quran speaks about the crossing of this planet in previous times, in the past. Could you give us
Yes.
an example, please? Some example
Absolutely.
of the passage and what happened? Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Oh, you're welcome. The Quran mentions about the crossing that happened at the days of our father Abraham and Lut, peace be upon them.
Peace be upon all of them, yeah.
Yes, and it was the last time before this time it happened. That happened at the days of Abraham. And also the Imam mentioned as well, if I wanna just give another idea, that the Imam mentioned that the cause of the destruction of dinosaurs was by the passage of planet X over Earth.
Okay.
And there's proofs about it. Also, they were, there are archaeological findings or discoveries proves that as well. And as you know, we have like they call it forbidden archaeology, which is when they discover something that proves the scientific media or what they believe in, the scientists or astronomers or whatever, they would hide it. They wouldn't just make it public and plain to people. They would hide these facts.
Okay. Well, for
so,
sure,
like for example, finding bones of giant people who roamed the earth and lived on Earth.
I mean, we could speak later on.
Yes, we could explain about this later on, but I'm just giving an example about how the forbidden archaeology.
The reason why they are trying to cover up such a truth, otherwise will be
well, it's simple because they don't want to lose control over people.
Okay.
Imagine if everybody knows that, there's going to be the end of the world. That's what they think. And they say, why should we work? Why should we? So life, the wheel of life is going to stop and governments will lose control of the masses.
Okay. So in other words, like you've mentioned a while ago, you said they are preparing themselves. They have underground cities where they're gonna seek refuge on the exact time whenever they see that the danger is here, right? So they know.
It's well known now.
They know about
most people knows that the governments are building bunkers, and it's all secretive. Nobody knows where it's at. Some people have evidence, if you search the internet, that how they're building in mountains, underground, roads and structures and cities.
Okay.
Even underwater.
Now, you've mentioned before, that the Holy Quran speaks, about past events of the crossing of this planet, of this celestial body, that it caused destruction of nations actually, and that it changed life on the surface of the earth. Could you please indicate to us the cycle, between a crossing to another? How much time is estimated between one crossing and the other?
Well, there's like thousands of years between crossing and another. But I know that we mentioned the example how our father Abraham and Lut, when the destruction happened, they survived it because they believed in God and they were righteous. And those who at their time, they were rebellious, mischief makers, they end up being dead at that time. And as you know, Lut, which known in the Bible, Lot, and Sodom and Gomorrah, how they are in his time, they were evil people, homosexuals, and they were just rebellious and end up being destroyed. But Allah guided Abraham and his family, also Lut and his family, who believed. Not all their families believed, of course. To go to a peaceful place where they were safe.
Alhamdulillah. Yes.
That will give us an evidence that it's not the end of the world. It is just destruction for the evil people.
And
there will be life.
It is a life-changing event, a life-changing event.
Exactly.
But after that, life will just continue.
Exactly, will continue, and it will be peaceful, nice, beautiful life.
And I mean,
afterwards.
If I'm reading, you know, between the words, you know, because I asked you a more specific question about the period, you know, the cycle, and you immediately, you know, switched that those who believe in the Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will be saved. That means, you know, no matter what cycle it is, whether it is 2000, 4000, you know, the important thing, make sure to have a good relation with the divine, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you know, and this brings us to another topic, you know, we'll get back later. I mean, in the West, most of the people are more focusing on the physical aspect, on the destruction that is going to be caused with the crossing, due to the crossing of this celestial body. So those who believe, they joined their forces together in order to form what they call survival groups, preppers, okay? And so I mean, I have been in contact with such groups all through these past years. Some of them, they sought old mines, you know, which is underground mines, where they stocked food and weapon and water in preparation for what's to come, okay? Some even fled from, you know, they got out of the United States, they got to South America. Some of them went even to the Philippines, you know. I even had some of them I know very well, and they contacted me. They said, now we are in the Philippines, in Asia, you know, and we don't want to stay there because they felt that there's danger. But is that really a good decision to leave the country?
Not really. Not really. I should mention that when the Imam was telling us about this planet and about this event, that's which is the closest passage ever for planet X to come over Earth, that even if you have your castles, your fortress, or wherever you flee to, you won't survive it if you don't have the connection with your Lord and turn to Him and ask Him His mercy and change your life from now. Come close to Him and come near to Him, because
so actually that's the only solution in order to survive.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay. That's what the Imam Mahdi, peace be upon him, urging all people to resort to for judgment to the Holy Book, which is the Quran, which is Allah's judgment and commandment to mankind. It's not just for the Muslims, like they think. The Quran is for all mankind.
Okay. So it's the divine message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meant for all humanity, for all mankind.
Yes, and the Imam, he's calling all walks of lives and sorts of people or religious background. He's calling them all, from any race, from any kind, jinn or human, to turn to God and ask Him His mercy, because it's in our the planet is on its way, and it's Allah's chastisement.
And may I ask you another question? Sorry to interrupt.
Please go ahead.
You know,
No
you
problem.
spoke about cataclysm that is going to take place due to the crossing of this celestial body. But are we speaking about a specific region in the world, for instance, which will be where the destruction is going to be caused, or are we talking about a global event that all the planet will be impacted by the crossing?
Everybody will be affected, except whom Allah have mercy on. For example, the Imam said, like his supporters all over the world,
Okay.
and they were concerned. They would say, "Oh, Imam, should we come to you where you live, where you at?" And he said, "No, let everybody stay where they're at, because chastisement of Allah, when it comes, it won't spare anybody if they are meant to be destroyed. And those who are flee to God from now and ask Him His mercy and ask Him forgiveness and change the bad to good and follow the Imam Mahdi and the message of the Quran, then they will be safe." And he gave us an example, like two men walking side by side.
Okay.
When the planet X comes,
Yeah.
the stones of these fiery stones, when it hits the disbeliever, the one beside him who's a believer, it won't affect him a thing, while the other will be destroyed right in front of him or by his side.
So it seems there is an intelligence behind this planet.
Exactly.
Okay.
Allah said about it in the Quran in the verse, تَطَّلِعُ عَلَى الْأَفْئِدَةِ. That means it gains knowledge and knows the hearts of the people. If your heart inside have evilness and hatred and disbelief in God, it knows that,
Then the risk,
and it obeys Allah.
the risk is greater. That means the risk of of perishing becomes greater whenever someone shows those signs.
You have to be devoting your love and your submission to your Lord from your heart from
Okay.
now, so you'll be able to survive it. Nobody can save you. Even all the forces of the world, of mankind and jinn, join together to change its course or stop its destruction or
So they
save
won't,
themselves. It won't happen.
Okay.
It's only going to be waste.
So now, Sister Radia, thank you. You are actually taking us to a higher level than what is known to most people. I mean, most people in the West or even in Europe, even in Europe, people are not really so conscious about this incoming danger. People in the United States, Canada, Australia seem to be more awakened to this than most people here in Europe, But nevertheless, Alhamdulillah, now we hear that the Muslim people, especially those who are following the awaited Imam Mahdi Nasr Muhammad, have got plenty information about this celestial body and what to do. And they do even have specific information that goes beyond what the people in the West know. Because as I said, we started speaking on the physical level, what could we do about it? Should we move from the country, from the geographical region where I am to another? Then you said no, the best you remain there. And then each time, we try to find an alternative. You say no. The main thing is your relation with the divine. So it seems that there is a spiritual level that is, spiritual level that is not known to most people in Europe, which is actually more important than the physical aspect of this coming event of the crossing.
Yes, and that's why the Imam says your only way of survival is to flee from Allah's chastisement to His mercy. If you want to survive, flee from his chastisement into his mercy. You cannot escape God.
What do you mean by
The only way
His
to
mercy?
save yourself is to run to him, to embrace him, enter into Islam, into submission, into peace.
Allah Akbar. Okay. So is that because we all know Allah, the divine creator, is not a something, is not a body. And I mean, you run to him. Does it mean you run to him? I mean, with like we run on the street, we make a jogging.
No. It's you. How to say it? When you get close to God, it's not like the physical thing, God, he's here, I'm going to run to him and embrace him. No, it's you get spiritually closer to him by doing your prayers,
Spiritual, exactly. Yeah.
prostrate to him and ask him forgiveness sincerely from your heart. Just don't make other being or anything between you and God. Don't associate with him whatsoever. Don't think anybody more merciful than your creator, who loves you, who created you, and he sustained you without you asking. What else, you could find more loving and more merciful to you than your Lord? Even your own mother cannot be more merciful on you than your Lord, than your creator.
Sure.
So the only way to survive it is to you run to him by know his message, follow his Khalifa, who Allah assigned him to come and warn us. And we're just so grateful and thankful to God that he made us find this human being, that he sent him as mercy to mankind, which is the Imam Mahdi Nassim Hamd al-Yamani. His website is very enlightening and very assuring to us that more better life yet to come if you just go to your Lord and follow his message, accept him as your judge and follow his law. Don't violate what he commands you. Allah never command us into doing evil. As you see, life is full of destruction, full of mischief, full of evil, wars, hatred. People stop following his commandments, and on any level. So the only way to go back into peace is to accept God's message and follow it to the T, to follow it to step by step. And it's very simple. It's not hard. It's not complicated.
Now, I mean, when you say accept God's message and believe in the book of God, of the Revelation,
the Holy Quran.
The Holy Quran, because anyone who is non-Muslim listening with us, he thinks that you are advising him to go to the Bible and to run to, because they believe that Jesus is God. And we know that.
Unfortunate. Why God sent other message after Jesus? Because people went away from the true message of Jesus, peace be upon him. His name is Isa in the Quran.
Alayhi salam,
Alayhi salam. He's the son of Mary. Why Allah sent Jesus after Moses?
Okay.
Simply because people who followed Moses, they diverted from his message.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to the channel. Good to see all of you. With us, Sister Radia. And Sister Radia, she introduced herself at the beginning of the show. We are speaking about the crossing of the celestial body known to the West as planet X Nibiru, known to us Muslim people, followers of the awaited Imam Mahdi, Nasir Muhammad al-Yamani, as the planet Saquar or planet Sijil. So at the beginning, of the show, we spoke about the weather changes across the world, what's happening, the events that are related to flooding, tsunamis, and Sister Radia said, well, actually that's due to the closing of the celestial body to Earth. And then,
it's called in the Quran skirmishes between Earth and this planet, that it's affecting our, but it's all signs for, like Allah said, وَمَا نُرْسِلْ بِالْآيَاتِ إِلَّا تَخْوِيفًا, that Allah, He doesn't send these signs except to scare us, to make us go back to Him, to turn to Him. But unfortunately, most people, when they see these destructions, they would say, oh, it's Mother Nature, things will go back, and they get scared at the moment, and then when it passes away, they forget and say, oh, and they go back to their own mischief again, their own ways of...
Now, Sister Radia, I think the event of the crossing, let us say, if we draw a line, in space in front of us, and we put a dot on that line, let us say that dot represents the event of the crossing. We are, let us say, on the left of that dot. That means we are getting towards that event, which is in the future.
it's getting nearer and closer.
Near and closer. And so, before going beyond, I would like to ask you a few questions about precursors that should happen before, as signs which will tell us that this crossing is about to happen. Could you please enlighten us and inform us from the knowledge of the awaited Imam Mahdi, Nasir Muhammad al-Yamani, about certain events that are to take place before the event of the crossing?
Well, the signs that the Imam tell us that it happens, and some of them is going to happen one after the other so quickly, but there's no time frame. As Allah told us in the Quran, that when it comes all of a sudden, that they won't to just surprise them, and they won't be able to run away from it or do anything to stop it.
So the crossing itself...
But when we come to the signs, we have a major sign that is already happening now, that we see, which is the overcoming. The sun overtook the moon. What is the overtaking? We used to have, as you know, Muslims, whether or Jews too, they follow the lunar calendar. We watch the moon for each month to know the beginning of each month. And now we have imbalance, and we have all the calculations of the astronomers to know and predict the beginning of the month is getting mixed up, and they're hiding the problem. But it's there. It's a fact. We start to see it, not be able to know the beginning of the month. They would see the crescent in the sky is being born for the beginning of the month. Yet it sets before the sun.
Yes, okay.
So
that's one of the signs.
The Imam spoke many statements about this, and please go ahead and read about it, to educate yourself, to know that this imbalance happened just because of the planet is coming close.
But this event does not occur on a single occasion.
It happens, and it's happening repeatedly. It has been happening, and the Imam was calling and warning the people to be cautious and tell them this is a sign to prove of his.
If I am not mistaken, I mean, when I saw the statements of the awaited Mahdi, he was actually warning that this major sign, which is the sun preceding the moon, started happening already back in 2005. And he said the first opportunity, the first occurrence of that event means that we already entered in the phase of the end times, and we are living in the final day of the earth. So when we speak
if I may say that the passage of this planet, it's not the hour, it's not the end of the world like we said before, but it is a sign of the hour, one of the major signs of the hour, the planet passing over earth and doing destruction. But there's also other signs which comes before this passage and after. This sign that we're talking about, the sun, the overtaking of the sun of the moon, that we're having this imbalance out there. It's a cosmic sign to prove the Imam Mahdi what he's saying and what he's warning, and it's ratification for him.
It seems that recently the awaited Imam Mahdi, peace and blessing be upon him, issued another warning saying that there are certain events that accompany the crossing, and usually these two accompanying this event are called the wind, the barren wind, and then the Rajfa, And he said, due to the stubbornness of the world leaders, it seems that these two events are most likely or probably to happen a lot earlier than the due time.
As signs of warning for people to go back to the Lord.
So could you please give us more explanation about these two events, which are Ar-Rih al-Sarsar and then the Rajfa? What are they that the people would understand?
Unfortunately, when it happens and it passes, if there's nothing happened, or who survive it, they say, oh, just natural disasters, and which is wrong. It is Allah's chastisement to people to teach them and warn them that if there's something sinister is on its way, go back to your Lord. But this, what the Imam was mentioning, that could be an asteroid that would come and hit in the middle of populated city, cause destruction. As we know that each passage of this planet would leave asteroids around the Earth, and it's known there is an asteroid belt around Earth that rotates. And that's what we see every now and then, shooting little meteorites or asteroids to Earth from these asteroid belt that is left from each time of passage of this planet X. And we call it Saquar or Sajil, or it's hellfire itself. That's what the Imam is telling us, it is hell itself. It comes, so when this happens, there is a sign that we're gonna be hearing sounds like knocking. We're gonna be hearing, because it has, as the Quran said about it, at-tariq, as-sama'i wat-tariq, that God swears by the heavens and at-tariq, which is the planet Saquar, Sajil itself, or hellfire. Which we already hear that people in remote areas, they would hear these knocking sounds, strange sounds, and they record it. If you go to YouTube or you would hear and they cannot tell where is the source of it, and it scares people, and scientifically they cannot explain it. But somehow it is come because planet is on its way and it's getting closer.
So,
that's what we are hearing.
So the Rajfa, is it the sound that you are mentioning?
No, it's the shaking. The shaking that could be, but the Imam, what he said, that these signs, it's subject to change, subject to be either removed completely or comes all of a sudden one after the other. Because Allah, He's kulla yawmin fi sha'n. That means, according to our prayers, when we ask God, if we just come devoting our hearts sincerely to Him and pray to Him and ask Him, it'll change its course. Allah, He's willing and to accept this, the prayer of His servant. So if he comes to Him sincerely and ask Him to stop it or remove it, just the Imam Mahdi, he was doing his all best to do his prayers to stop this Rajfa or this asteroid that could come and hit in the middle of a populated city and cause destruction, because people won't believe him and obey him and as a Khalifa.
Okay.
That's how merciful He is. That's how He cares. So not just for the people. It's for God to, so He won't be sad in Himself.
You are telling me that there is a way, if people wanted, they could avert this coming danger. Okay.
And there's evidence in the Quran that happens at the day of Prophet Yunus, Jonah, alayhi salam, in the Bible, and it's also in the Quran. It's well known that when his people didn't believe him, they didn't take heed of his warnings, just like any prophet too, when he comes and warns them that Allah's chastisement coming to you if you don't believe, if you don't obey. And the same with the Mahdi. He's telling them and warning them. He's not a prophet, he's not a messenger, but he's a Khalifa. He's sent by God, and he came with the same message like all prophets came to tell people. Take heed, follow Allah's message to you, fear your God, keep your duty to Him. It's the same message. Don't associate with Him.
Okay.
But if you don't, then the imminent warning will come and cause destruction and kill people and destroy them, the evil ones.
Now, about the signs, the precursors to the event of the crossing, we spoke about Rih al-Sarsar and about Al-Rajfa. Is there something else which will be another event maybe that should take place previous to the crossing?
When you see, as Allah said in the Quran, Surah Ad-Dukhan,
smoke, cloud or smoke.
There'll be smokes seen in the horizon. People, they will think it's just clouds, it will bring us just a storm like any storm. But this smoke, it'll bring chastisement hidden in it, which is going to be plain and obvious in the sky. That's from the planet X itself. Why? It's fiery, and the smoke, the heavy thick smoke that would come would bring with it stones of fire that would strike the people just like a sniper hits its target.
Okay.
And that's what it's going to be. Okay. Also, there is as I mentioned earlier, because the planet's going to be the closest passage over Earth. It's going to cause the Earth to stop on its axle, the rotation, and reverse it, which cause the day to be prolonged in some areas, and the night will begin from all over again. Like for the timing of Mecca, it's going to be around dawn. That's what has been mentioned in the statements of the Imam Mahdi, peace be upon him. And that would cause the night start all over again, that make it longer. And that's why he says that if you don't obey and follow me, by resorting to God's book and for judgment, and take your God as a judge between you and your. And he's just arbitrator, the Imam Mahdi. He's just a judge that rules by Allah's law. He doesn't bring anything from himself.
Yeah.
And when people they don't accept that doesn't mean they are rejecting Imam Mahdi Muhammad Nasr al-Yamani. In fact, they are rejecting the word of God. They are denying it, and they don't want to obey. So the consequences of this is Allah's chastisement that He's warning us from day and night, and He's telling us, take heed, flee. The only way to flee is start purifying your own hearts. He is teaching us how to cleanse in our hearts, to become pure and devoted to God and love Him, embrace Him, and follow His message, and tell others. We are here not telling you to warn you and scare you, say, oh, you're just doom and gloom. You're just telling us things to scare us. No, we're telling you about facts that is coming in its way, and there's when it comes, if you regret is not going to help you. Even if you confess of your own sins and say, oh my Lord, I wronged myself, it's not going to help you. The only way to help you is to ask Him His mercy and ask Him His forgiveness.
Yeah, thank you. You gave us a very detailed idea about signs that are about to happen previous to the crossing. And I think you just reached the point now. We are on that dot of space, which is called the event of the crossing. Then you said, shortly before the crossing itself, Earth will cease revolving around itself, and then we'll see that the night will precede the day. That means that the orbit of the Earth will change in the opposite direction, causing the sun to rise from the west.
And it's mentioned in the Bible too. The 3 long nights, or we don't know exactly how many it's going to be, but it's going to be prolonged. And that's why the Imam, he says, if you don't take heed and obey me, God will make me appear over you in one night, and you'll become in disgrace, humble, and obey Him. So why would you do that if you know this is a fact that it's coming? You just have to do from now, save yourself, because the Imam Mahdi cannot save you. He cannot
are there any
punishment from Allah against you. You're the only one who can save yourself.
We get back, to that part of the discussion, how the people, what is the way that people could avoid being destroyed by the crossing of this planet. But for now, I wanted really to focus on the event itself and the consequences and the events that are due to take place, because we reached the point now we're speaking about the crossing itself, that the Earth will cease orbiting, and then it will resume its orbit, but in the opposite direction. People will see the sun rise from the west. Are there any other major events or happening that are to take place, immediately after the crossing?
When you see the planet itself coming close, it's not going to come from the east and the west. It would come from the polar sides, from north to south and south to north.
Okay.
Because it's an elliptical rotation around the Earth. It's not as the other heavenly bodies that the other planets that goes around the Earth.
Okay.
And what it does, the Imam, he mentioned a warning for us that we shouldn't look at it directly, because it would take our eyesight from the intense heat of it.
Okay. Seems there is a certain radiation coming out of that planet.
As well, yeah. That's what Allah said in the Quran to our father Abraham and Lut, that no one should look back, to take your way and never look back.
So
Because
that's
if
the
they
reason,
look, they
yeah,
will
yeah,
see the planet, and which will affect their eyesight. And that's what the Imam said. When it comes, go down on your knees and prostrate to your Lord and ask him for mercy and forgiveness and to remove the chastisement away from you. But when that is a lesson we took from, as I mentioned earlier, about Yunus, peace be upon him, that his people, when they disbelieved and he took off and left them, thinking that they're not going to be chastised after the 3 days passed, and he came and he saw there's no destruction.
Yeah, I mean,
What
so-
happened?
I
What
mean-
happened? That one person in his time he believed, and he didn't mention even to Yunus, Jonah, peace be upon him. So he just stayed in his home and believed and turned to his Lord. And when its chastisement came while Yunus has gone and left them, and they saw it and they start, screaming
Yeah.
and get scared.
Sister,
So he ran out to his people and told them, "Oh, my people,
Sister,
go."
sister,
Yeah.
I think that was another level of the discussion. That means what I meant by asking you, what kind
Yeah.
of events are about to happen, to take place due to the crossing. I was meaning the reversal of the pole,
The verse of the earth.
the destruction of the barrier of Zulqarnain, the emergence of Gog
Yes.
and Magog, the appearance
Those
of the
will be
Antichrist.
okay. The emergence will be after the passage, not before.
Okay.
No, we're talking before. So I'm just saying is when before it happens, that if people just go down and on their knees and prostrate to the Lord on the ground, ask him his mercy to remove it. And when it does, God, he removes it. Because Allah said, إِنَّ كَاشِفُ الْعَذَابَ قَلِيلًا إِنَّ عَائِدُونَ
إنكم عائدون. Yes.
إِنَّكُمْ عَائِدُونَ. Yeah, that the people, they're going to go back to disbelieve. Unfortunately, like usual, it happens with every time when Allah send
Okay,
the
sorry.
chastisement.
I mean,
But
you're
as we said,
you're speaking,
for-
I mean, shortly previous to the crossing, things that
Yes.
are... Yeah, okay. Go ahead, thank you.
yeah, so when it stops the rotation and the day the night becomes long, and then when the sun rises from the west,
Yeah, the day will precede the night, yeah.
yes. So when we see the smoke and the chastisement starts,
Means that,
there-
that means that the crossing is around the corner.
yeah, and all these things will happen one after the other, as the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, that it will be just like the beads when the string is cut and it falls one after the other, the beads, so fast, and this is what would happen. And as the Imam said, all these signs that he mentioned, and it's mentioned in the Quran that would be prior to the passage or at the time of the passage,
Yeah.
it's subject of change
Subhanallah.
with our
Yeah.
prayers. So we cannot say, "Oh, I predict this to happen first," or "I will postpone my belief till I see the planet itself, then I'll believe." You are dead wrong then if you think that way, because it won't help you when you see it.
So people better not postpone your belief in Allah.
Absolutely, you
Exactly.
should have to believe prior to that.
Exactly.
Because belief, when you see that at the time, is not going to help you. Just like what happened to Pharaoh,
Okay.
how he was following Moses and his people, trying to pursue them, to kill them, to stop them. But when the ocean closed on him, as he was, as you know, how the ocean bed was split, the water, and they were able to pass through. But when the water came on them and he was dying, and he recognized that he's dying. So he said, "I believe in God of Moses."
It was too late.
I believe of what Moses believed. But this didn't help him. So God said, now you believe after all these warnings before.
Yeah.
And the same with us here. We have all these warnings before it comes. So we should take a lesson from this. If we see the chastisement coming on us, that's it. If we say, I believe, it's not going to help you. The only way of survival is to ask God's mercy. And you start before. Don't wait and postpone till the last and you become chastised in pain. If you don't die, that doesn't mean you're going to escape this chastisement. Some will be injured, hurt, disformed. But all who believe and purify their hearts from now and ask God mercy and forgiveness and follow the Imam Mahdi and the Holy Quran, then you are safe, no matter where you at. So you cannot go to any part of the world and say this place is going to be safe or the other.
You know, sister, when I was asking you this question, I'm trying to be neutral here in order to give a chance and to make a way for those who are non-Muslim, in case they will listen to the recording that we are doing, in order for them, to have an insight, an easy insight on what it is. But in itself, it is very easy, because if we want to speak about how the divine care can take care of the believers at the time of cataclysm, one of the most obvious stories is the story of Abraham al-Khalil ala nabina wa alayhi salam, Sayyidina Ibrahim, when the Nimrod tried to put him in fire, because they made a big fire and they put him in a bag and they used I don't know how it's called in English. That means they take a trunk of a tree, they bow backwards and they hang the bag, and then they let go and it will launch that bag because the fire was so strong. And it happened that Abraham, peace and blessing be upon him and on our prophet, fell middle in that big fire. But all the people thought that he's burned and he's dead and he will turn to ashes. And the next morning, when the Nimrod from his palace looked on the place where the fire was burning the whole night, he saw a green tree in the middle of the place of the fire with a man wearing green clothes sitting with his back on the trunk of the tree. And that was Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. وَقُلْنَا يَا نَارُ كُونِي بَرْدًا وَسَلَامًا عَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the order to the fire itself to become cold in peace. Not only cold, but cold on peace on Abraham. So this is one of the most striking example how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can save the believer in times of needs. And I mean, we do have many other examples, like you brought up the example of Yunus alayhi salam. Sayyidina Yunus, when he was swallowed by the whale fish, which took him in the depth of the oceans, meaning in the darkness, and he stayed there. Some people say it was 40 years, some say, it's different versions. But we know at the time when it was time to release him, the whale came to the shores, opened its mouth, and he walked out. And we know that all his clothes, they were torn out. He did not even have clothes. And, because he stayed so long in the darkness, he could not look at the sun because it was too strong for him.
I may, if I may.
Yes, please, go ahead.
What it is that the Imam mentioned about people, they were the only people survived that Allah stopped the chastisement before it comes, because for one reason, that the one who believed and came out and told his people, people, you should believe what Yunus was telling you, the prophet of God, and ask him his mercy. He taught them that if you ask his mercy, he will remove this chastisement away from you.
And
So that's what
who was this
the
person?
purpose of our Imam Mahdi in his statement
Yeah.
to teach us
who was
that
this person, please? Who was this person who saved?
it's unnamed. It's unnamed. It's just a person that who believed secretly.
فأرسلناه إلى
إلى
100,000
ألف
أو
أو
يزيدون
Yes.
أو يزيدون
Yes.
or plus. So this man is the plus
It was
on,
addition, yeah.
on the 100,000 people. So the plus saved the rest of the people. Yeah, Jazakallah khair, Sister
Right.
Rabia. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
Ayakum.
please continue.
Yeah, and it's also it happened that when a person at this time hear all these warnings and these and you can see it and touch it, that how it changes in the seasons of weather worldwide.
Yeah.
And we are having sinkholes all of a sudden appear and swallows a whole building, or people in their sleep in their homes, or cars in the streets. It's all signs, preparation to show us that it is coming, and we're just tasting the lower chastisement, the less chastisement.
You know, but
when the chastisement itself passes, it'll turn the children's hair into white from the horror of it, and the mothers will drop their children that they nurse. People will run away from each other because it's a horrifying, destructive day. So you should take heed. You should take it seriously. Even though we try to smile and laugh sometimes, but we're trying to, not to scare people in a way, to give up hope and despair. Never despair. Just turn to your Lord. It's simple as that. Life is going to continue.
I know the topic is not so pleasant, but I'm sorry. This is the truth. This is the reality.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to make you understand the seriousness of the matter. And the seriousness of this Imam message to mankind.
But sister, they say always a coin has two sides to it. We are talking about one side of the coin. Is there a more pleasant side to the coin that is going to come?
But he's giving us a good tidings. He's giving us good news. He's telling us life is going to be abundance. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be safe. It's going to. But there is this chastisement is coming. There's no way of stopping it.
Okay.
The only way to help yourself is flee to God, embrace Him, purify your heart, devote your soul and your heart just for your Lord.
Okay, thank you. Jazakallahu khair, Sister Rabia. Jazakumullahu khair, brothers and sisters, for listening. We came to the second break of tonight live streaming. So, sister, we'll take this short break, and please take a rest, and I'll get back to you in a while. Jazakallahu
Thank
khair.
you.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so brothers and sisters, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be coming back to you to resume our discussion with Sister Radia. Barakallahu fiha. Bismillah.
Okay, what's next?
I hope you can hear us, brothers and sisters. Please give us a one, because I think the streaming was disrupted for a while. Even though I could see from here that it is streaming, but Sister Radha was telling me that she could not see anything on the screen. Oh yeah, now it turned into black, so it must be bad connection.
Yeah, let's hope they can hear us.
Yeah, but they did not react, they did not give us a one. So brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Please give us a one if you can hear us. Otherwise, yeah, I don't know. لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله.
Allah يسهل inshallah.
I mean,
Maybe you wanna.
Yeah, I mean it is slow. I think the connection is getting down, but never happened before. This is the first time.
Inshallah khair.
Khair, inshallah, ya Rabbi. Okay, brothers and sisters, we are back. Can you hear us? Please give us a sign. Give us a one or a two. We've got still 11 brothers and sisters who are in the room on the channel. So anyway, we'll resume our discussion with Sister Radia. You know, in the second part of our discussion, we reached to the point where we were speaking about events that are very close to the crossing, and even we came to the crossing itself, to the event of the crossing that will take place on a night time. And now we are back, Sister. Can you hear me, Sister Radia?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, thank you. So,
but I hope the audience can hear us, because I don't see it on the YouTube. Like I cannot hear anything on YouTube.
Exactly. I don't know what's happening, but it seems that
we're disconnected. We just have to call again or do restart it. I don't know how you want to do it.
I'm just refreshing the page, but please let's continue, sister. Everything will be fine. Don't worry. I'll be
okay.
Maybe there'll be a black screen for a while, but still they will be hearing our voices. So as
I hope
said,
so.
Yeah. So now, please, could you please tell us more about events and the happening that are to take place as a consequence to this crossing?
Yeah, as we spoke, the signs prior to it and the event when it happens. And now you mean we should talk about the events that's going to happen afterwards or during?
Yeah, but it is a chain, because things that will happen as a consequence to the crossing. I mean, we spoke about the reversal of the poles, and then we said this will cause the destruction of the fortified barrier of the Zulqarnain. Could you tell us a little bit more about who is this Zulqarnain, and is the earth hollow actually, according to the Holy Quran and to the knowledge of our beloved Imam, peace and blessing be upon him?
Yes, peace be upon him. As we know that when it as we mentioned, these things that is going to happen, like the earth is going to burn into fire because of these firestones that's going to hit.
Brimstone,
and that would leave people like hollow straws, as Allah mentioned in the verse. يَتْرُكُمْ كَاسْفًا مَأْكُولًا. There'll be a lot of deaths, as the Imam mentioned, that 2/3 of the populations will perish.
Okay.
But those who survive, they're going to see events happen. They're going to believe. They're going to turn to their Lord and say, oh, we believe. We're believers now. Those who were doubting, they were, between believing and not believing. But those who were firm and they believe, they will be safe and secure and will be just fine. There's a question says sound. I don't know if
I was asking the channel if they can hear us.
Yeah, let's hope everybody can hear us very well. because we're talking about something critical and important now.
They said perfect. The sound is perfect. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Great. Perfect. Now we see that the Imam mentioned that there will be a resurrection, a first resurrection, which will happen after this passage, when the planet X passes away, after the destruction is done.
What do you mean with resurrection? Are you telling me that dead people are going to rise from their graves?
Yes.
Oh.
It's not the resurrection, the final one, the whole resurrection, the overall. No,
But
it is a partial one.
but
It's for whom Allah He pleases, from those who died in the ancient times, and they went to hell, and they were regretting because they are being punished in hell, and they were regretting. They say, "Oh, our Lord, return us back so we can do good."
And how many people are, how many people are going to rise? Are we talking about 1, 2, 3 persons?
No. There'll be a lot of people from different nations that passed before us, who died before us, and end up being in hell because they didn't believe their prophets and the message of God. They didn't believe in Allah.
So they'll be raised from their graves and walk among us.
They'll come back, and this is the big sedition that is going to come to seduce the living and the dead, like the Imam said, the dead who came back to life. And what is this big sedition? It is Dajjal himself, that when he comes out from the whole earth to seduce all the people and tell them, "I'm your Lord, I'm Jesus, the son of Mary, God, I'm your God, worship me." And this is the hell that you saw. It is from me, I brought it to you, and those that who raised to life, I resurrected them. And this heaven and the earth here, it's mine, and I can let you live in it. But it's not his. He's a liar. That's why we say Ad-Dajjal, or the liar Messiah.
So are you telling us that the Antichrist, the Dajjal, is already in the whole earth now?
Right. And you mentioned about the barrier. This is a sign also that God mentioned to us, that on the time of this passage, when we get close to the end of time,
to the event, the event of the crossing,
but as we said, that the event is only a sign of the end of time is approaching. That now we entered in the last stage of lifetime.
Okay.
Which is when the hour comes, and these are major signs of the hour. The appearance of Al-Mahdi is one of the major signs of the hour.
Now, when you speak about the hour, we are talking about a period. How long is this period in time?
No. It is, the name of it is the hour, but the hour is the time when everybody dies. It's the end of life, end of world. And the Imam said that it's the earth itself that is gonna, every inch of it will be destroyed. The hour is gonna be from within the earth. So nothing will be right, will survive it, nobody. And this will happen when everybody goes back to disbelief, after they become all believers and all Muslims from the passage of the planet X, which is the final passage, and the 12th one, and the nearest one. So what this happens, the hour when it happens itself, it's going to be like, it's going to leave the earth Qan Safsafa. It's going to be flat, and everybody will die. And then the overall resurrection, the final one, will come, and will be the Judgment Day, where people go to heaven or hell according to their deeds.
What duration are we talking of after the crossing? How long will it take before the final hour will take place?
Till MashaAllah. That's what the Imam said. There is no time frame. But the science is when everybody goes back to disbelief. They become, those are the most corrupt, because after all they saw the truth, They saw how Allah chastised the people and how Allah is going to destroy Gog and Magog with Satan on the hands of Al-Mahdi and his followers, also supported by soldiers from Allah, that from the heavens and the earth, he's going to make it, he's going to aid his Mahdi, and Nasir Muhammad al-Yamani, peace be upon him, with everything from the fly, the smallest, tiniest mosquito, and what's above it, what's greater than it. Whether they're angels, human, jinn, who are believers, which is in a different world, and that's already living in the inner earth. Now we go back to Dhul Qarnayn. How the Imam mentioned about him,
Yes.
that Allah told us in the Quran that when we enter in the end of time,
Yes.
with the stage that we are in, we already started it.
Uh-huh.
That the Dhul Qarnayn he built. I remember that we mentioned in a different session before about the center of the whole earth. There's a barrier in it where the Prophet Dhul Qarnayn went in, and he built it to separate the evil satanic jinn.
So are you, Sister Radia, are you telling us that the story mentioned in the Holy Quran about the journey of Zulqarnain, which basically in Arabic means he who lived for 2 generations, and it does not have anything to do with the horns, like deer or
not
something.
whatsoever. No.
So this story took place actually within the whole earth.
Right. He was an outer earth, of course, to begin with, but he wanted to make the expedition to take his message, God's message, to other people in the remote areas of the earth. Right. So he traveled north, and he was able to reach the northern gate at the North Pole, and met the satanic jinn, but they pretended that they believers and they believe in God. So he left them, because as long as they claim that they are believers, you have no right to object. Just leave them, because God knows what's in their hearts, and he would punish them the way he wants.
Are you aware?
So his other trip of propagating Islam, to teach the people about Islam and tell them about God, he headed south. And when he entered from the South Pole into Earth, and he met other beings who populate that area, they were begging him for help, because those in the north of them, they were coming and doing mischief and killing them and destroying whatever they do. Mm-hmm. So he realized then that they deceived him, the offspring of Satan, who's living in the north of the inner earth, the northern part of the inner earth. Mm-hmm. And they were an area where they were coming through it, and they sally forth and punish those people and chastise them. So they begged him to build a barrier between them, and he did. But Allah said that the prophet he was mentioning, فَإِذَا جَاءَ وَعْدُ رَبِّي جَعَلَهُ دَكَّاءَ, that when Allah's promise comes, it's going to be destroyed. It's going to crumble. And then everybody will sally forth. They will, Satan and his offspring will come out to deceive the people at that time. This is the big sedition that they should be aware of, and should be steadfast.
Could it be, sister, this is what the people in the West, or the Christian people, when they speak about the great deception, and actually, if you asked any of the priesters or the Catholic scholars, what is this great deception, they won't be able to answer you.
No.
In the way that Imam Mahdi
it is mentioned in the Quran, and it's mentioned in the Bible. As you know, I should tell the audience, whether you're Christian, Jew, or Muslim, that these books are from one God. These messages is the same message. Now we see little differences that happen, or major differences. These because of people went in generation after generation from translation. There's missing misinformation in these books, also alteration. So we need to, but Allah, when He sent the Quran is like an encyclopedia of these old books. It covers everything what's in them. So if there's anything that doesn't go with the Quran, that means it's from mankind who altered and changed. Also, it is from the command of Satan, that he wants to change God's message, to mislead people and disobey God and end up being in hell with Him.
Jazakallah
So,
okay, thank you. Sister Radia, please, now getting back to the point where we were, and then we'll continue after that. I mean, getting back to the story of Zulqarnain, the two horn, explained exactly he who lived 2 generations. Do you mean this guy we are talking about, or this admiral who went inside the earth, in the hollow earth? Are we talking here about Alexander the Great?
No, that's not that at all. It's he is a prophet of God.
Oh, he was a prophet.
And it was a secret in the Quran that the Imam Mahdi, he revealed it to all people, that this man, his name is just, the nickname of him is Dhul-Qarnayn, but his name, real fact name, his name is Ibrahim bin Ismail bin Ibrahim bin Azar. He lived 2 lifetimes.
You know, sister, why I'm bringing this? When our beloved Imam alayhi salam had a video which was uploaded on the channel of a brother Saeed, Rafat Saeed, which is called Noon Statements, okay? Many people, the haters of truth, those who hate the truth, they come up, and they had a British accent, so it seems that they are in Britain. They come up with a video in order to contradict what the weighted Mahdi was saying. They said, look, the Muslim people, they speak about Alexander the Great, who was wearing 2 horns, and this and this and this. So actually, that is all fake what they are doing.
This is misleading, and those who are ill-informed, they don't know.
Exactly.
They end up being duped. They end up being misled. So that's why you should inform yourself about the facts, the truth that is written in plain in the Quran and the Imam Mahdi's explanation of the Quran. So save yourself not to go be misled by such interpretation. It is a fact of the Qarnayn that he is the Kenyan, which means that he lived 2 lifetimes. The reason that Allah mentioned in the Quran that there was a prophet who passed by a town, and it was khawiyatun ala urushiha, that was empty and destroyed, and there's nothing on.
I remember that story.
And he said, what would bring this back to life? But Allah want to teach him a lesson. So he put him to death for 100 years, and then he resurrected him back.
True, yes, yeah.
When he did, he told him, to see the proof, how his life, God can bring back to life, like you questioning what would bring this back to life. So when he did, he went back to his people. And his people, they denied him. They couldn't recognize him because the generation of people who knows him, they don't know. They died. They're gone. Their offsprings or great-grandkids who are in his time when he was resurrected again.
Okay.
So he's the one who took the expedition, which is to spread the word of God. To inform people about the truth, to believe And as we know, all the prophets came not to compel people to believe, not to confide people to believe by force, just to tell them the message. But those who fight them, of course, they're going to end up defending themselves.
Is there now
The disbelievers.
Yeah, okay. Now we spoke about these signs that are to come beyond the event of the crossing, and Sister Radia mentioned to us the first resurrection, then mentioned to us the fortified barrier of Zulqarnain. She explained who Zulqarnain alayhi salam exactly is, that it is not the two horns, Alexander the Great, which some haters of the truth are claiming that he is. Okay, so my next question, is there something else that is gonna, a very important event that is to take place as a consequence to this crossing, sister?
Yeah, it's the coming out of Satan to deceive, the big deception that is going to happen.
Great deception, yeah.
Yeah, and out of this, there'll be the greatest war, you know, when the Imam Mahdi, he would confront him and eventually he will kill him.
Okay.
But before that, is going to try to deceive the dead and the living. When we say the dead, is the people who resurrected from death and came to life. So you have to be careful. And the only way the Imam Mahdi taught us that you could save yourself is knowing the fact that there are going to be two people coming to claim that they are the Messiah, son of Mary. The true one who would say, worship your Lord and my Lord. I'm the servant of God, worship your Lord and my Lord. But the other one will say, I'm the son of God, worship me, I'm your Lord. And claim all these signs that we saw to himself. So people would be duped and believe him.
Oh no, so you're introducing here the real Messiah alayhi salam.
Exactly. He's gonna be resurrected with the people of the cave, which are the giant people of their time, Nofad and Tabud.
And is that in relation with the crossing of the celestial bodies?
Yes. After the passage, they're gonna be resurrected. Why Allah, he postponed the appearance of the Prophet Isa, peace be upon him. Just because he knows what Satan he's planning to do is he's going to come to claim the identity and the personality of Jesus himself. He's going to claim he is Jesus, he's the son of Mary, and he's the Messiah, but he's a liar.
He's a liar, exactly.
Why he's a liar? For one simple reason. God, the unseen, praise be to him, subhanahu wa ta'ala, aluwan amma yushrikun, that Allah, you can never see him in life, you can never see him on resurrection day, you cannot see him on judgment day.
Right, yeah.
Why? Because he's the greatest, and nothing can endure seeing God except one thing like him, and there is nothing like him. God said in the Quran, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. There's nothing like God. So and he gave us the example that on the day of Moses, that his people, they were telling, oh, make us see your God.
Yes.
We want to see your,
the
openly.
Of Israel, yes,
so Moses, he went and said, my Lord, show me yourself. God said, you'll never see me. Look at the mountain. If the mountain stays in itself, endures and stays in its place, then you can see me. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make himself reveal to the mountain crumbled at that time. And Moses and his people, they perished. They fell underground from the horror of that time, because none can endure seeing God, and no one seen him. When Moses was resurrected and woke up from his...
This fact that you are trying to share with us, Sister Radia, is actually very, very important, because it means
It is.
salvation from hellfire, or grace, the grace of God. Because what is going to happen when these guys can come out, this Antichrist, claiming that he is God, people who don't know about what you're talking about will be easily deceived, because they will think that this person in front of them is really God, you know.
So just remember, when you see somebody in front of you, you can see him and hear him. He's not God. No matter how he looks, how handsome, how graceful, how he's going to show beautiful ladies and claim those are his angels. Don't believe this. It's all gibberish. But, you know, I'm just trying to make this is a crucial, important point, that none can see God, and the one that you see him claiming that he is God, he's a liar. He is Satan himself. Don't be deceived. That's why they call him the deceptive Messiah, or the Dajjal in Arabic, which means a deceptive.
So you also, you also spoke about, you know, you said Isa alayhi salam will be resurrected with the companions of the cave. Could you please give us an insight about the companions of the cave, who they are?
Yeah, they are, Allah mentioned Fitya, means they were youth at that time. When they came to their people, Allah sent to them this town that's mentioned in the Quran, which was mysterious. And this was one of the secrets that the Imam Mahdi was able to reveal to all mankind. That those three brothers, actually.
Yes.
The oldest one, Allah sent him as a messenger to his people.
Yes.
So, and he, subhanallah, made his brother to believe and made him a prophet as well to help him, and the youngest brother as well. Their names is Ilyas, Ilyasa, and Idris. Those prophets tried to convey the message of God to their people, but they wouldn't accept it, and they were threatening them. They were saying, we'll stone you to death, we'll kill you. And they were trying to survive this, and they asked God to save them. So Allah saved them in that cave. So they went there, and Allah made them have a deep sleep. Now, in this case, they are in a state of deep sleep from that ancient time for thousands of years. And when you see them, it's going to be a huge sign for us, because they are not like you and I. They're giant people from the days of the giant who lived in their time, in the ancient time.
Right. You know, by the Christian people, actually, they believe on his blessed return, Isa ibn Maryam, the Messiah, will be accompanied by ministers. And they speak about Elijah and another two witness with him. So could it be that Ilyas alayhi salam, who is called by the Jewish people known as Eliyahu, could it be that he is Elijah, and could be Idris alayhi salam be Enoch, and Ilyas?
That's close, but I cannot say, because I'm not too much into, I don't have much studies in the Bible and the Torah. I've heard of those names, but I cannot confirm yes or no. But I would say what Allah taught us in the Quran, what the Imam taught us, that those three, that the Isa alayhi salam, when his soul was raised to God, and the angels took his body and purified it, put it in the
Ark of the
coffin, which is the Ark of piece of ark, or Tabut al-Sakina in the Quran, as we know it. Which was for Moses, when mother of Moses, she saved her son, she put him in that, the angels brought it.
It is better known to the Christian people under the name of Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah, but it is that the same the same casket or coffin or ark, whatever you want to name it. He's in it, laying and rests in peace, and he will be resurrected at the same time when those three prophets will be resurrected, because the angels days placed him in the same cave, and which is located in Yemen.
Could you please tell us more about these three brothers, alayhim salam, who are Ilyas and Idris and Yasa? Are they common people like the rest of us, or are they from ancient generation, from ancient nation?
Yes, they're human beings like us, but from an ancient generation. That is, God increased them in their body, might and strength and size. They're giant. They're like 30 meters high. It's not just like you and I. When we see them, it's going to be wondrous sign of God.
Okay.
As you read in the cave, the chapter of cave that say, "Min ayatina ajaba." We're going to see things that would make us wonder and be surprised. But people who doesn't know these facts, they're going to be horrified when they see them.
Yes.
They'll be shocked. But in our case, because we have this knowledge and we're studying it and we're expecting it, so we just wonder when we see them.
Okay. Jazakallah khair, Sister Radia. It was very enlightening actually, this information that you shared with us.
Yes.
So
and I may say add this too.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to ask you if there is. Yeah, go ahead.
These four prophets, they're going to be followers of Mahdi, and they're going to pray behind him. He's going to be their imam, and they are his ministers.
Yeah, he's going to be their leader. Yeah.
Yes, the ministers of the Imam Mahdi, they are four, which is Isa, Idris, Ilyasa, and Yunus.
You know what, Sister Radia?
Yes.
I heard on some lectures of scholars from the Al-Aqsa Mosque claiming that on his blessed return, Isa ibn Maryam, peace and blessing be upon him, is more important than anyone else. He's even more important than Al-Mahdi. And then I was struck by what he was saying. I say, how could this be? It does not make sense. Now it makes sense to me what you are saying. Why? Simply for the fact.
Why?
No, I'm going to try to explain. Please listen for a while.
Tell me, please.
Okay. Now, seeing that the companions of the cave are from a generation that is 20,000 years ago, okay? The companion of the cave are from the people of the ris of the mountain, and so they slept for a period of time and they woke up, but they did not leave their cave. So these people
actually for 18,000 years.
For 18. Now it would be after they woke up one time, and now on the next crossing it will be 18,000 years. Yeah.
9. Yeah, whatever. Let's not get mixed up with the numbers.
Yeah. Okay.
But what I'm saying,
no problem,
when they gonna come out, come back to life.
I did not make my point, my sister.
Go ahead, please. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, I'm saying, look, Isa alayhi salam.
Yeah.
We all know he spoke Aramaic. Okay, he does not speak any other language. And these
actually,
people, and these companions of the cave, nobody will be understanding their language. So, the only person who will be able to interpret for them, the only person whom they can trust will be Imam al-Mahdi. So they will need to be behind Imam al-Mahdi in order to make themselves understood to other people. Because if they came directly to the other people won't be able to understand them. You see, there is a problem of communication. So therefrom, the importance and the important role that Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam is going to play on the time of the blessed return of the Messiah Isa ibn Maryam alayhi salam. You got my point.
Yes, the reason I'm smiling. Let me interject this.
Yeah, go ahead.
That those, as you know, the Imam said that most of the prophets, they're all spoke Arab, they know Arabic. And this could be shocking surprise for many people, but it's a fact. The people who's gonna come from the inner earth, from the southern part of it, who they didn't speak a good language, their Quranic didn't understand them, they were trying, but he taught them Arabic, and they know Arabic. There are Muslims down there living there, and he taught them Islam after he built that barrier. And
so the companions of the cave will speak Arabic also.
Yeah, but what the Imam Mahdi taught us, he said that if he goes himself to that cave and call them by name, they will hear him and they will come out to him. They'll be resurrected by God's will and in its decreed time that Allah meant it to be. So no matter how you try to go to the cave and try to wake them up, it's not going to happen. It happened when if the Imam Mahdi himself go call them, or at the time of the passage, which is going to come very close, which is we are living day by day, could happen any time. So don't secure yourself from Allah's plan. Don't think, oh, it's a remote time. It may happen after 20 or 1,000 year or 100 year. No. We are in a time, it's very critical. It could happen anytime, and it's getting nearer and closer. So rush and save yourself. And as we said, that the day, three prophets, they were in a deep sleep. The first stage of their deep sleep was 9,000 years. If you read the Quran cave, it says, زدناهم تسع. وزدناهم تسعة.
وَلَبِثُوا فِي كَهْفِهِمْ, they remained in their cave 300 years, and we added them 9.
But there's calculation that the Imam is teaching us according to the time frame of Earth or the sun or the moon and the Qadr time of Allah, the time of Allah. So as I mentioned, it's 18,000 years. That's what the Imam taught me, and I stick with it.
I'm not telling you different, but Sister Radia.
Yeah, you're right. So I just want to tell the people to make sure so we don't mix them up.
Yes.
We've been mentioned 9 or whatever. So together, from the first time they went to sleep, there's 9,000 years. And when they were resurrected the first time to go and see their people, they stood by the door of the cave, and it was silent. Dead silent, and there were no people, and they were, felt strange. Then they went back to sleep for another 9,000 years, and now their time to wake up is very soon. They'll be resurrected, inshallah.
Jazakallah.
And their location is in Yemen.
Okay.
In a cave in Yemen. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair, Sister Radia, for sharing that information, which is crucial information, actually.
Yes, it's all from the teaching of the Imam Mahdi, peace be upon him. He's our teacher.
Alhamdulillah. Now, for this show, I think we've mentioned what is really most important to know for people, those who are seeking salvation, even though maybe there are some other ramifications that we did not mention, but I think we've mentioned enough what is important for the people to know, which is related to this event of the crossing that is getting closer and closer by the day. So my next question, if you allow me, Sister, would be,
Please go ahead.
Okay, in time now we know that there is a big cover-up on the fact that this celestial body is getting closer to Earth, causing all
they deny its existence even. Not just they deny the coming.
They're kind of covering it up. They don't want the people to know about it.
No,
You know,
yeah, the masses doesn't know.
Even though we know, as we've mentioned, they are aware of it, they are preparing for it. The elites, those who are
Yes.
ruling this world, they know about it, so they are getting ready. But at the same
Yes.
time, they want to keep the lid closed on
Yes,
the public, so the people
even
they
the
don't know.
Vatican, they know about
Okay,
it,
so
and they
we
keep
are
it a secret from the Christians, the average Christian Joe, you know. Unfortunately,
Okay.
that's why they
So
have.
actually, I want to continue. I did not finish, Sister Radia. Please.
Yeah, I'm
let me-
sorry to interrupt
No,
you.
no problem.
But I
Okay.
just want to
Now,
interject
my
this
point.
information.
I will make it very short, please. That,
Uh-huh.
that will give you the lid for your discussion. Okay.
All right.
My point is the following: those people who are ruling, okay, normally
Yeah.
they are paid by the public because they get a lot of money by the public, and you are volunteer, and the Imam Mahdi is volunteer. So why are you taking this risk to warn the public and to spread this knowledge among the people?
Simple reason. The Imam Mahdi, he wanted to propagate the truth. He calls for the truth, and we're believer in the truth, and we should tell the truth for one reason. We seek to please God. We took a covenant with our Lord that will never be pleased unless God is pleased. And the greatest bliss to us is Allah's pleasure.
So you're telling
over
me,
mankind.
your motivation, which is driving you to take the risk,
Yes.
to spend your time, devote your time in order to
Absolutely.
warn the people at a time where the people who are paid millions of dollars, getting paid by the public, they want to hide this truth, but
Yeah, by the taxpayer.
you don't get anything. It's because of the
Nothing.
covenant.
Absolutely.
Yes,
I
please
pledged my-
elaborate, please. Yeah.
Yes, as you know, once we know the truth that God Himself, He's sad and in sorrow for those people who are being chastised in hell who regret,
La ilaha illallah. Yeah.
because He wrote mercy on Himself.
Subhanahu. Yeah.
And once you know that, what is the greatest bliss? It is the spiritual bliss. It's not the material bliss. It's Allah's pleasure. If we don't seek to please Him from now and would never accept any bliss other than the greatest bliss, which is Allah's pleasure, the goodly pleasure of Allah over His people, for His servants that He created. He sent all these messengers out of His mercy. He sent all these messages out of His mercy because people, they are being duped and misled by Satan, like he did misled him, our father Adam, in Jannah, the whole earth, that he took the mastery from over it from Adam because he rejected and refused to accept Allah's order that you should obey Adam as your Khalifa. He took a promise that he's gonna mislead his offspring, which was us. We are the offspring of Adam and Eve.
Right.
So now, this is the greatest deception that everybody is unaware of, that when he comes out of the earth to tell the people, worship me, otherwise I won't let you be in that heaven. This heaven has never been his, never had. It is Allah's. It belongs to Allah. And he will let the Imam Mahdi have the mastery of it as soon as when Imam Mahdi, he's gonna, with his ministers, Isa alayhi salam, they're gonna fight Satan and they will kill him. I mean, with the rest of Gog and Magog, who are soldiers of Satan. Satan has been preparing for this for thousands of years, and have his army, the number of it, they will outnumber us here over the earth, while they are inside the inner earth.
Well, you see, this way, all the agenda of Satan and his
Yes.
minions, which he's been working on for thousands of years, has been exposed by awaited Imam Mahdi, isn't that?
Exactly. His plan is to expose him, expose his plans, to destroy him, to save as many as we can from people. For one reason, is not to add, sorrowness in Allah's self. Himself, His pleasure is so dear to us that how can we go enjoy heaven and enjoy the bliss of it while we know that Allah is sad and sorrow?
This sounds very strange to many people to hear.
But it is a fact. I know, that's what I'm trying to convey, this message, that to tell people, you always ask each other, how are you? How you doing? How you feel? You care about your loved ones. You care about your friends or your family or neighbors.
Right.
But have you ever asked yourself, how's God feeling? How's he doing? Is he happy? Is he sad? While Allah, He mentioned to us in the Quran, and many people, if they read it, they wouldn't, and they don't have the clue.
So are you telling me that the Creator Subhanahu wa Taala, Allah,
yes,
has sorrow within Himself? Is He a bit sad?
Yes, for thousands of years. That's when. Each time when a prophet comes and tell his people, follow your God, and they would try to kill him, and the believers, try to kill him along with the believers, then Allah would answer the prayer of these prophets when they say, oh Lord, save us, help us.
Subhanallah.
And it's since Allah gave His word that He would aid His prophets and messengers and His supporters, His righteous servants, then He will destroy those bad, rebellious, satanic people who just doesn't want to believe. And once those people die, go to hell, then they will regret and they will say, oh, sorrow for myself, for I just didn't do my duties. I came short for my duties towards my Lord. They are regretting in that hell. And then when at that time the sorrow comes in Allah's self. And that's what makes us sad, if you think about it. Yeah. It just makes me cry, and that's why what motivates me, that I need to tell the people, save yourself, don't add to the sorrow of your Lord once you go to hell, because He won't wrong you. You wrong yourself when you don't, when you rebel, when you disobey, when you just do evil. You're just wronging yourself, and the consequences, it's been plain in sight. God promised those who disbelieve they're going to end up being in hell. He didn't put him. He didn't put them Himself. They
caused it.
They brought it to themselves.
Yeah, they brought it up.
If you want to think about it. So just know this fact, know this truth. You just cannot say, oh, I love God, but you don't do anything to please Him.
Yeah.
On the contrary, you would do things to displease Him. That's what Satan wants you to do. That's why you shouldn't follow the steps of Satan. Beware, be careful.
Thank you,
yes.
Thank you, Sister Radia. Jazakillahu khair. May Allah reward you all the best for this information that you are trying to share with us. And the only thing I can say, if you allow me, is I never heard of a more noble aim or goal than this goal that you are all
exactly the purpose. This purpose that we're not doing it. Imam Mahdi, he taught us this.
Exactly. Yeah.
That he's not doing it for a reward.
Yes.
He's not doing it for just to save us from hell and make us go into heaven. So, no, we're doing it for the sake of pleasing God.
The whole motivation drive is to please the Lord of creation, so that as many people as possible will go to His mercy, run towards Him, worship Him, and witness the oneness of Allah, the creator of this universe, And so that's what I understood, from this important, valuable information that you tried to share with us tonight, sister. Okay.
Yes, thank you for allowing me to share this.
No problem.
It is very important that everyone who's present, it's your duty. Once you know the truth, you need to go out and tell others, tell your people, tell your family, strangers, anybody, tell them the truth. That's how you compete for Allah's love and nearness. Don't you want to be the most loved to Him, the nearest to Him? I do, and I wish I am the one that the closest to Him, just to please Him. If you think what material things that's gonna make you enjoy life or enjoy in heaven, once you know that who created you, who loved you, who gave you all this, He's sad, and in continuous sadness since then, since the beginning of time.
When I listen to you, sister, all those truth haters, that we see on the internet, trying to make false claims and false accusation, saying, that the awaited Mahdi of the Muslim people. They speak in general. They don't speak in specific about Nasr Muhammad al-Yamani alayhi salam. No, but they speak in general. Oh, they say, Muslim people, they are waiting for their savior, who is called the awaited Mahdi. But according to these truth haters, they claim that the awaited Mahdi of the Muslim is none else but the Antichrist. But when now I heard you, and I heard the motivation and the purpose and the goal that Imam Mahdi Nasr Muhammad al-Yamani and his followers are doing, devoting their time, devoting their life, devoting everything to save the rest of humanity in order for them not to be punished by the wrath of God. How could he be the Antichrist? That means those people who are claiming that the awaited Mahdi of the Muslim is the Antichrist, their argument does not hold water at all. They are
not
lying.
At all. Even Antichrist is Satan himself. Even the Imam Mahdi, he said, if Satan himself will come and ask forgiveness from God, God will grant it to him. But Satan, he gave up on that. He just despaired from Allah's mercy, and he wants everybody to despair from His mercy and to rebel and to displease God. That's his purpose, is to make people to displease God. And this is the complete opposite of our purpose of our Imam Mahdi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Nasr Muhammad al-Yamani, and his followers. This is our main purpose, and our main is to do the opposite of the purpose of Satan. Is we are pleasing God. We're trying to make people to unite into one word, is La ilaha illallah, which is there's no God but Allah, and to worship Him alone, and to please Him.
So awaited Mahdi is not here to wage war or to kill people or to spill blood.
No, he's a man of peace. He said, God sent me for peace, sent me as a mercy for the people. So he just called for peace for mankind worldwide, and he wants to end the wars. He wants to reunite the people to live in peace with one another. No compelling religion on one another. If somebody wants to disbelieve, it's his choice. You cannot.
So Imam Mahdi, Sister Radia, please, because you are a supporter and a follower. You know, so Imam Mahdi, the awaited Mahdi Nasr Muhammad al-Yamani, peace and blessing be upon him, and all of his supporters spread around the world, they are not planning to kill the Christian?
No, whatsoever. If we do, we bring sadness of Allah's self. How can we? This is against our purpose. We are here to bring pleasure and happiness to our Lord. How? By informing others, by trying to teach them to save themselves, to please God, to get to embrace Him, to love Him, and to know that the fact he's sad. So if we kill them, we're gonna bring more sadness to Allah's self, because they wanna regret when they go to hell, right?
Exactly.
The chain reaction of this.
Right.
So we, as the Imam Mahdi says, he will never ever wage a war or fight anyone who just choose to disbelieve. There is no compulsion in religion.
For a non-Muslim, for a non-Muslim who is listening now, or who will listen later to this recording of us, he might ask himself, now because you are a Muslim, you are happy the awaited Imam Mahdi will come, and that will make life better for you. But for me, as a non-Muslim, what does it mean, this awaited Imam Mahdi? Is this important to the non-Muslim also?
Absolutely important. Even if they choose not to believe, if they live under his reign, he's gonna spread equality in rights, whether they're Muslims or not Muslims. He will treat them with goodness and kindness, as long as they don't fight them.
Right.
As long as you don't fight our religion, you have the right to live in peace side by side.
So
it's against our religion to fight people for just their choice to disbelieve.
Yeah, the awaited Mahdi Nasr Muhammad al-Yamani alayhi salam is calling for cohabitation between the different races.
Coexistence, coexistence in peace. Whether you're a believer, disbeliever, you're free to do whatever you want.
Okay. Very clear, sister. Jazakillahu khair. Thank you very much. I think that gave us a real clear idea about the calling, the message of the awaited Mahdi, Nasr Muhammad al-Yamani. We have to precise now, we are talking about Nasr Muhammad al-Yamani and not about the awaited Mahdi that the Shia are talking about, who did not appear yet and actually will never appear. And we are not talking about the Sunnah Imam Mahdi, because according to the Sunnah he does not know who he is. So we wonder, how are they going to recognize him if he does not know who he is? So we are talking about the real awaited Mahdi, whose name is Nasr Muhammad al-Yamani alayhi salam. And this is actually what Sister Radia gave us a good insight about the knowledge that he is trying to widespread, to propagate, so that to save humanity of the dangers that are heading towards earth. And Sister Radia also explained to us the ultimate goal, the drive and the motivation of awaited Mahdi Nasr Muhammad al-Yamani and his supporters and followers, which lead them to devote their life and time in order, to warn the people, and call them to Allah, to God subhanahu wa ta'ala, in order for them to save themselves and their loved ones.
Yeah, turn to your Lord, turn to Him, and you'll find Him there for you. He loves you, cares about you. God is a personal God for each one of us, and you have right with your Lord as much as anybody else. Don't think those who claim they are saints or they are priests or rabbis or sheikhs or even messengers or angels, don't think they have more right of your Lord than you do. You're entitled of your Lord. You just turn to Him. You'll find Him embrace you. You'll find Him aid you. He tests us in life. We may have some loss of things, that He give us, bestow on us to test us. If you are patient and know that and trust in Him, you'll find Him there to save you and help you in the bad times, and you will have nothing but goodness. So you're doing it for yourself. God, He doesn't need you. Absolutely. God is rich. He doesn't need us.
Right.
He's above all this. But we need Him. And we're doing it for our survival, for our salvation, for our happiness. If you want to live happy in this life and then hereafter, you just do simple things. It doesn't take you much. Just praise Him, thank Him, be grateful. God, He wants us to be grateful to help us, But if we deny and we be ungrateful, we won't find nothing but chastisement, and we regret it. We bring it to ourselves because God, He doesn't wrong anybody.
Jazakallahu khair. Thank you very much, Sister Radia.
Thank you, Jazakallah khair. I'm not doing it for anything,
Inshallah.
even not to be thanked. I'm just doing it to please my Lord.
Alhamdulillah,
And we thank God that He guided us, and we ask Him to keep us steadfast.
Sister, still, that's the least thing, we can present to you is to thank you heartedly from our heart for spending your time and joining us today.
My pleasure,
in
my
order
pleasure.
to enlighten us about
And
this.
I apologize if I get emotional because I believe it in my heart and my soul.
Sure.
Of my cause and what I'm doing,
No doubt
just
about
for
that.
God's sake, for His own pleasure.
And
I'm not doing it to be rewarded.
And I think that's also the way that all the supporters in the Ansar
Absolutely,
will
yes.
feel.
And they are my
Yeah.
beloved friends and brothers in Islam and
Alhamdulillah.
sisters, and who are competing with me and again, with the Imam Mahdi
For the pleasure
to
of
get
Allah.
closer to Allah, to please Him.
Right. Jazakallahu khair. So as I said, this was a very pleasant and very interesting conversation that we had with Sister Radia. Mashkura Ukhti Radia. Thank you,
Thank
for
you.
spending the time and for
My
accepting
pleasure,
the invitation.
anytime. And if you want to bring any guests,
Inshallah.
please do.
For sure. I mean, we'll have, inshallah,
Anybody who would like to
more-
ask questions.
Yeah. So that's the next step. We're gonna take a break for now. Sister Radia, I don't know if you want to stay online. If we're gonna have a call immediately, then stay online. Otherwise, if you have some task to do, you are a mother, you have children home, you need also to take care of those of the children. So whatever pleases you, sister. But in the meantime, I'm gonna put this short break, and
Yes.
open the line for the brothers and sisters, anyone who'd like to call and to ask a question or to add a comment. Okay? So thank
right.
you. Next.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Here tonight, inshallah. She gave us good insight about events of the last days that are about to happen, and already taking place. In the meanwhile, we have been joined by our beloved brother Samir. Thank you, brother Samir. Are you still with me online, brother Samir?
Hello, yes. Assalamu alaikum, brother and sister. Yes, I'm with you.
Wa alaikum assalam. Okay, kind of you to have joined us, brother. Do you have a question or a comment you would like to add?
Yes, basically I called just to request, if possible, from Sister Radia, if she can elaborate or talk a bit about, basically, she mentioned the Antichrist, what he's hiding, and what's going on there. And I wanted to clarify one thing for our, actually for the rest of the people, whether our brothers, also Christians and Jew, in regards to the belief, which they believe the same as most of the Muslims also. Thanks to our Imam Al-Mahdi alayhi salam, he brought out that what they call heavens, or the Jannah, the paradise,
Right.
is always, they say, heavens in the skies up there,
Yeah.
But probably she could talk a bit about where Adam was appointed, actually, where he was appointed as a Khalifa, and where is the heaven that he used to be in. Just to clarify, I think, show the world.
Yeah, the Garden of Eden, yeah.
Yeah, because nobody talks about this. I mean, no, I have never heard it from a Christian, from a Jew, from even, let's say, Sunni, Shia, our sects here. We never heard this. So if she could elaborate a bit, Sister Radia, that would be highly appreciated from her. So it will enlighten everyone listening to this program.
Well, I hope that Sister Radia is still listening. I don't know, because she hung the line. So Sister Radia, please, if you are listening, give us a sign on the chat that you are still with us listening, so that I might call you in order to answer Brother Samir. He wanted you to make it more clear about the place of creation of Father Adam and the Garden of Eden. So I still did not see any response from Sister Radia. I think she went on doing her own things, because...
Well, she did great already, really good, huge effort. That was really awesome.
Exactly.
So yeah, so we'll carry this question maybe to our next next broadcast.
Inshallah, Brother Samir, thank you for taking the time and calling us. And maybe she will get back whenever she's back. I'll try to call her.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Shukran lakum. Thank you very much.
Shukran laka,
Thank
brother.
you.
Jazakallah khair. See you soon, brother. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. Okay, brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum min jadid. Welcome all the brothers and sisters, the supporter of our Imam alayhi salam. So the line is open. Anyone who would like, please, to call and to comment. She said yes. Okay, now alhamdulillah, Sister Radia is willing to come back online in order to answer Brother Samir. So let me see where I can get her back. Wait, Mahdi News. Okay, here she is. And we'll be waiting also for Brother Idris to call, in case he would like to add something to the discussion tonight. Assalamu alaikum.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah. How are you, Brother Idris?
Alhamdulillah. I'm good. You know,
Were you listening to the show?
yes, the show and really good information that you guys shared. And thank you to because
Alhamdulillah.
I personally think I benefited a lot just from the things that both you and Sister Radia said. So Alhamdulillah for that.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So it was in itself a reminder for the supporters themselves about the knowledge of our beloved Imam alayhi salam.
Yes, yeah, I think it made me realize, that even though, we read and we know some of these things, it's good to have each other to remind each other constantly.
Exactly.
Because, it's all, good, praying and building up your spiritual, connection with God. But I think it's important to have reminders because it's so easy to slip on. It's so easy to every day get bad habits or start
Yeah, for sure.
not focusing as much as you could. So it's very important that we remind each other. So alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So I hope that she heard the question from Brother Samir and that she will come back, but I don't know how to call her because actually her Skype number is in this group, that means with you. So maybe it's possible for you to call her in order that she comes back to answer Brother Samir.
Yeah, I can try now, inshallah, see if she answers.
Yeah, okay, please do that. Okay, brothers and sisters, we're trying to get our sister Radia back online to give her the opportunity to answer the comment that Brother Samir had just done. He wanted her to make more clarification about the fact that the Garden of Eden, where Allah subhanahu created Adam and his couple, our mother Eve, actually is not in heavens above, but below. It is here actually in earth itself. So I mean I'm gonna leave that to Sister Radia because the question was asked to her. Okay, is she back?
No, I think it should be ringing now.
In the meantime, I see that some of the sisters and brothers just joined the room, the channel. So, Mayasm Zafaran, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, sister. Good to see you. She does not understand the English. I have to speak in Arabic. السلام عليكم أختي مياسم الزعفران مرحبا بك يا أختي. So that was anyway.
The Ummah, the one who is loved by the people.
Yeah. I was thinking about you a while ago, and I was going to bring this, but I omitted to mention it to Sister Radia. We were talking about this strange weather events and how cold it is this year compared to other years. Sister Radia is called back. I'm going to say this. Okay. Welcome.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, sister. Marhaba.
Ahlan wa sahlan. I tried to get in, but nobody picked up, and you tried to reach me, it didn't work. I don't know.
Okay, now, I don't know if you've heard Brother Samir. He just came a while ago online, and he had a question, or he asked for more clarification about the Garden of Eden, where Allah created Adam.
Yes, Imam Mahdi alayhi salam
salam
taught us from the Quran with the proofs, the verses that tells about the creation of Adam and whereabout. Okay. Like when Allah mentions Jannah means garden, but there's two gardens that people are not aware. They think the garden of Jannah, which is heaven, and that when people die, will be rewarded in heaven on a resurrection day. But the fact there is another garden which is in our earth, which is Allah call it Jannah.
Yes.
It's in the inner earth, because it doesn't make sense when create a man, when Allah promised and foretold the angels that He's creating a man, a human being, and He's going to make him Khalifa.
Okay.
But Khalifa on whom? In Jannah, when the people die, you go rewarded there? No, it's just the garden that is in our inner earth that all the people unaware except for a few. Where where Satan is right now, which is he just refused that fact, and he rebelled to submit to his Lord, to be obedient to Adam. And he said, that man who you favored over me, I promise you to mislead him and his offspring. Now the Imam gave us proofs, which is also, there's pictures which has been taken by satellites of the entrance of the inner earth that proves, and also Admiral who traveled north, Byrd, his name, Admiral Byrd.
Admiral Byrd, yeah.
Yeah, and he was there himself when he went on his expedition.
Right.
And he saw, he lost control of his aircraft, and he was taken by the aliens who are jinn.
Yes.
Taken into the earth, and he took a message from them to the people, to his superiors, the governments that he.
Yes.
But they kept it under, very closed, and they denied these facts. And afterwards, after his death, things start to show up. Mm-hmm. But it is a fact about his expedition, and it's a fact there's other people, not him, there's other people who went in the ancient times.
Right.
And there were even there's maps that shows about the inner earth and the what's inside it, of bliss and greenery and good life, peaceful life, and good life, but without the presence of the aliens. But I should say that the fact that our father Adam and Eve,
yes.
When they were created, they were inside the whole earth. Mm-hmm. This is the garden, and that's why Allah said that He's going to make it to inherit to the good, righteous people, the Imam Mahdi and his followers.
Right.
After he takes that from Satan and kill him and into his evilness from this earth. So this is the fact that, alhamdulillah, we just get to know. When Allah says in the chapter, let me remember when He says Jannatain, 2 gardens. So there's one garden, is one after resurrection to be rewarded for the righteous ones, and the other garden that's in life here that the righteous ones are going to inherit after this passage happens. So good. Any other questions? I don't know. I hope I'm clear. If you can come in line, if you have any other questions.
Yeah, you have been very clear, Sister Radia. Jazakillahu khair. Thank you. I hope that Brother Samir heard the question, the answer to his question. Brother Samir, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Brother Idris, alhamdulillah, you joined us. But I'm asking if Brother Samir heard the answer that Sister Radia gave to him.
Yeah, I hope so. And he can play the tape. I don't know if he wanted other things, because I didn't hear him talking the question.
I have one question. as well.
Go ahead.
Anyway, we'll wait for his reaction, on the chat because he
Yeah,
hung
in the
up.
meantime, if you have a question, Idris, go ahead before I.
And either one of you can answer, but it's about, Bermuda Triangle, and if we know anything about, the stuff that happens there.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of rumors, I've heard rumors about this since I
Yeah,
was.
the Imam mentioned about it. It's the doing of Satan. As you know, there's two major gates for the inner earth, but there's also portals for the aliens to go in and out, and some of it is underwater, and some, in remote on land. There has been discovered holes where air projected from it, warm air, and there's no end for it. And it's puzzling for the people. They don't know. And caves as well. But has been seen by the Navy and other ships who travel across the oceans, that sometimes you would see flying saucers come out from the water into air, just like that, appear all of a sudden from underneath the water, which is very stunning. But it is a fact. They have the ability to go from in water and out of water through these portal holes that they use to spy over mankind, to come back to their Satan and tell him what is going on. They always come and spy over us. And they would make people feel like they are coming from outer space, but it's not true. They're not coming from different planet. They're in our planet, underneath the soil, under our feet.
They're hiding down there.
Yeah, and they just come whenever they wish. Satan, he's not blocked in like they say during Ramadan. He's chained. These are false, doctrine, I would say, or false information, or false hadith that is from Satan himself. He's doing it to deceive people. But the fact, Allah told us that at the day of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, when him and his companions were in a Badr fighting, Ghazwat Badr.
Yes.
When Satan came himself with, told them, I'll be your supporter, I'm your ally. And once he came with them to fight the Prophet and his companions, the believers, Satan saw the angels coming down aiding the Prophet Muhammad and the Muslims.
Yes.
So he just took back on his heels and ran off. He said, I see what you don't see.
Because he's a coward.
And it was Ramadan. So how can that be? This is contradictory to the Quran, this hadith. So that it tells us that Satan, he's chained in Ramadan. And unfortunately, millions of Muslims believe this. They are, that's why Allah sent the Imam Mahdi to inform the people to know the truth and the fiction or false from Satan that he's trying to deceive people with. Through the hadith, because the Quran is protected, guarded, he cannot mess with it.
Actually, that is a very important topic, showing that there are fake hadith already embedded in the legacy of our beloved Prophet ﷺ. These fake hadiths and fake narration, actually, they are the cause of the split of the Muslim community, the division is due actually to those fake hadiths, and of course it has other repercussion, misleading the individuals themselves, So,
well, that's his mission, is to show us the truth and to follow the true hadith, the true sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is inviting us to the Quran, Allah's book, the Grand Quran, and the true sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Except the ones that was introduced and you know, by those who show belief, but they are disbelievers in heart. Their mission just to get in and mess with the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to mislead generations that gonna come after the Prophet.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's what the Mahdi alayhi salam, Imam Nasr Muhammad al-Yamani, exposed them, and he's teaching us in his statements to know how to know the false hadith and the true hadith is by displaying it and compare it with the Quran. If it's contrary to the Quran and violates God's, so you just throw it behind your back and don't take it and don't believe it. If it goes with the Quran and supported by the Quran, then we believe it and we take it.
Exactly. That's the rule actually, in order how to distinguish between an authentic hadith and a fake hadith. The rule is to compare it, to go back to the clear verses of the Holy Quran. And if it is in accordance, it agrees with the Holy Quran, then we know it is authentic, else it is a fake one. Thank you. So I hope by that you have answered the question of Brother Idris. Thank you for coming back, Sister Radia.
Sure, if there's anybody would like to ask a question, I'm here.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you want to close the
by now I think
conversation.
Even the number of the brothers and sisters has diminished. I think it is getting late in some parts, especially in the Middle East. It's at least 2 o'clock in the morning for them. So I presume many are heading to bed, you know. So that will be, I think, the end of this transmission of live show of tonight. I thank Sister Radia. I also thank Brother Idris, Brother Abdullah Samir. So good night everyone, and Jazakumullahu khair.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi
wa alaikum assalam. Salam Brother Idris. See you inshallah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
See you. Salam. Shukran.